Welcome to Larry's Library. Got another book review for you. I've got this big, beautiful Conan Illustrated edition, The Tower of the Elephant. But before we talk about this latest version of Tower of the Elephant, let's talk a little bit about the history of that story. So Conan's creator, Robert E. Howard, first published this short story in the pages of a 1933 issue of Weird Tales magazine. Here's the cover. So over the years, this has been published numerous times, over and over and over again, in various paperback collections, like this one here. This is an Ace paperback that I bought new off the shelf. I think this was like probably around 1980, something like that. But beautiful Frazetta cover, of course. That is where I first read this story, was the printing in there. But it's been printed over and over and over various times in various different kinds of paperbacks and hardcovers and whatnot. But this is where I first read it, was in this one. Now, this has been adapted at least 3 times in comic book form that I know of. I mean, there could be others that I missed, you know. I mean, it's a very popular tale, and Conan has had a epic publishing history for sure. Roy Thomas did it twice. He adapted to comic books twice. Once in Conan the Barbarian number 4, the original Marvel series. Then again in Savage Sword of Conan issue 24 in black and white. Now the black and white version is John Buscema, big John Buscema, with inks by the sublime, awesome Alfredo Alcala. The Conan, the comic book, was Barry Smith, of course. And then the third time in comics I know of was adapted by Kurt Busiek. And this was for the Dark Horse series. This was issues 20 through 22, that adaptation ran of Tower of the Elephant. And now we have this big, beautiful edition, which features the text, the straight-up Robert E. Howard text, but accompanied by these absolutely stunning paintings by an artist. Let me see if I get the name right. I'm going to try. It's a French artist, I think, and his name is Valentin Seycha. But just take a look at these gorgeous pages. And I'll run some B-roll here, and I'll also show a comparison so you see the relative size, how big this thing is. I think this size is more common in the European market. And in fact, I think this book was originally published around 2022, 2023 in that European market, and probably it was in French, I'm guessing. I don't know if they did an English one until Titan brought it over here. Yeah. But this is 56 pages, because like I said, it's a short story. But Titan Comics put this out, Titan Books, I should say, with a $24.99 cover price. But as I like to say, don't be a chump. Don't pay retail. Although if you had to pay retail, this beautiful book is worth it, let me tell you. So the story is pretty unusual for a Conan tale because it shows the influence that H.P. Lovecraft had on Robert E. Howard. I think they might have been friends or at least pen pals, if I remember right. I could be wrong on that. But it takes place fairly early in his career as a thief, Conan's career. Not Robert E. Howard, but anyway, so on his first visit to Zamora, the city of thieves, he hears some rumors of this priceless gem. I think it's called the Heart of the Elephant. And the lore goes it can only be obtained by scaling the Tower of the Elephant. Most thieves are too scared to even attempt this because it's rumored to be secured by dark magic and sorcery. And not only that, even if you could brave those elements, the tower itself is very smooth and it's very tall, and they look at it as suicide, that no one could scale this. But a Cimmerian was born and bred to climb, and Conan doesn't have any trouble with that idea. He's like, bring it, you know. So he goes after it. And without giving anything away, the wild ending, I will say this sword and sorcery tale also has some crazy sci-fi horror elements to it. And it's awesome. I really, really love this. It's, yeah, I don't know, it might be my favorite Conan short story. I'd have to think hard about that. It's been a long time since I read these old paperbacks. Yeah, it's definitely in my top 5 Conan stories of all time. That's for sure. And I had never, well, I think I had seen this guy's art before in comic books. I think he might have worked on some of the Titan Elric stuff, if I remember right. And yeah, he's just fantastic. And these paintings, and you can tell it's a real love affair for him. You can tell that he loves this story and these characters. I mean, when you put that much loving detail into something, I think, I think he really respects the material and tried to be very faithful to Robert E. Howard's descriptions. And I think mostly he succeeds beautifully. So yeah, this is 10/10 for me. I absolutely love this book. One of my favorite reads of the year for sure. In a year jam-packed with books, this is awesome. So pick this up if you haven't already, if you're a Conan, Robert E. Howard fan. But yeah, this art is breathtaking. And if I could criticize it a little bit, the only thing I could say is occasionally on some of the pages, the text contrast is a little bit lacking. And so it's a little bit difficult to read a couple of times. But even that is not enough to take it away from my 10 out of 10 rating. I mean, I'm older, my eyes are far from perfect. Even with correcting prescription readers, I was still able to read everything here. It's just a couple of times I wish there was a little better contrast, but otherwise, this thing is perfect. So that's why it's 10 out of 10. I hope you like taking a quick look at these and exploring the history of Tower of the Elephant a little bit. And I will catch you next time.